WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American here in Germany. Welcome to our German Kinahans, our English Kinahan stream. I'm here from Germany together with
Quinzil Du Plessis from Kinahan.
To our German Kinahans, as well as Vanessa. Hi.
Hi, I'm Vanessa, the brand manager of Kinahan.
As well as Vanessa. So we have a little bit of feedback going on. So someone probably has a browser open in the background. So if you could maybe close that. I don't know who it is. All right. Very, very good. So Quinzil, would you like to very briefly introduce yourselves and then we'll go over to Vanessa, all right?
Hi, my name is Quinzil. I'm the Master of Wood and Liquid Innovation at Kinahan's Irish Whiskey. Basically, the person that makes the whiskey and does all the experimentation for the company and products.
Excellent. And Vanessa, are you up and running now?
Hi, I'm sorry, I have a little bit problems to get you guys with the tone, excellent. But yeah, a warm welcome to everybody. I'm sorry, I have a little bit problems to get you guys.
All right, so what we're going to do, so Vanessa, if you would please close, all right, thank you very much. Vanessa, would you please close all the other windows in the background except for StreamYard? So you have apparently a window open with either YouTube or Facebook in the background, and that's playing and creating the loop. All right, so she'll figure that out in a second. If not, we'll have to just do something else here. All right, very good. So she's going to get this worked up. I'm going to greet a couple people. Neil is there. Hi, welcome. Good evening, everyone. Some people are still writing German. The Raucher Lux, he says, good evening, everyone. Tina says, good evening as well. Welcome to see you. Alex is there. He wishes everyone a very good evening. Here we have Benjamin. He says, welcome. Hoo-hoo. And we have a new member. Oh, every time we have a new member, we can ring the bell. So here we have a new super fan here for WhiskyJason. It's great to see you there. All right, excellent. Thank you very much. 1986 Trinity. Vanessa, how does it look? Shall we try again?
Hi, yes, sure. Now everything works. I can hear
excellent.
You. Yes.
And we can hear you without an echo. So sorry for those technical difficulties. Vanessa's doing this for the very, very first time, and we did not do a tech check. I'm sorry, my mistake there.
No.
So would you like to introduce yourself and brand a little bit, please?
Yes, so a warm welcome to everybody. My name is Vanessa. I'm the German brand manager of Kinahan since April this year. And I'm very happy and proud to work for this nice, strong and innovative brand. And today we want to bring you guys into the Kinahan's world to show you our products, tell you a little bit about our history. Yes, and today we will taste 4 excellent products from our range. 3 from the Heritage Collection and our Kinahan's Kasc, the world's first and only hybrid cask whiskey. Yes. And yeah, as maybe a lot of you already know, Kinahan's is a very old and traditional brand. It was established in 1779 in Dublin. And yeah, Kinahan's was quickly known as the pioneer of Irish whiskey. It is one of the oldest whiskey brands in the world. And it was also the first registered whiskey trademark as well. And yeah, due to the expertise, the good products in 1807, the Lord Lieutenant Charles Lennox was so impressed of the Kinahan's products and the taste that he ordered all stock exclusively for his own use. And yeah, Kinahan's became more and more important and more well known. So they also got awarded by the Queen Victoria for the excellent taste and the craftsmanship. So to me personally, Kinahan's is very different. It's they are brave to go new and other ways of the whiskey making process. They're experimenting with wood. They're willing to try to do something new. That is what for me is very inspiring. And yeah, I think what makes the difference to other Irish whiskey brands. in my opinion. Yeah, and they are doing this in order to get a special, different, and rich tasting notes. And Kikkoman is not always known as a long traditional brand. It's also well known for good quality for sure, but they are also doing taking care of sustainability, which I really appreciate a lot. So they are original green member. So I think just 350 companies in Ireland get the certificate by the government. Moreover, we have the Black Oak Forest project. So Kinahan is building a native forest in a place which was damaged by wildfires. And we also have the Kasc project where we are focusing on projects which make a positive social impact. This all also can be seen on our Instagram site, the Kasc project. Yes, and yeah, as you can see, it's a very traditional old brand with a lot of experience. It's an inspiring brand, and I think you guys will taste it today. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to briefly say hello to Matthias over here from Bushmills Racing Team. I think that's going to be Matt over here at Whiskey Crusaders over in Texas. Great to see you. Mr. Schmidt is here from Germany. He speaks German, so we have someone here from Chemnitz, from the ex-Karl-Marx-Stadt here in Eastern Germany. Ralf, good to see you. Dirk is over here, Paderborn in Germany. Good to see you as well. And Expedition Whiskey is down south by Worms in Germany as well. Tina's over in Berlin, and Neil is still over here in Germany, but will start a new life over in Ireland in a few weeks. So it's kind of cool. Hey, it was either Matt or Sarah. I didn't know. All right. And Expedition Whiskey says, I like the Kasc. Very, very good. All right. So thank you very much, Vanessa, for that nice introduction. What we're going to do is we're going to actually now have a tasting and an explanation of the different bottlings. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much to Sierra Madre that actually gave these bottles here for the tastings. I did a sample share with these, so it's an online tasting. So we have about 16 different sets out there, and with those 16 different sets, we gathered over 500 euros here for the flood victims here in Germany. That's going to go for a local organization called Taubenväter, Pigeon Fathers. It's a weird organization, but they just donated over 400,000 euros to the local people that were affected, that lost their homes, that had lost a lot of furniture, that had damage done to things that were not insured. And so those 500 euros are part of that 400,000. Maybe just a drop in the ocean, but still every little bit helps. And thank you very much that we could do this together, Kinahans, to help the society and also do this charity tasting together. All right, excellent, excellent. Anyone else watching can also tell us where you're watching from and if you have the sample sets. So Quinzil, would you like to start? We're going to go with the first one, and you're going to tell us a little bit more about maybe the history, if you'd like, of the company.
Yeah.
Oh, so wasn't that great sound?
Batch, yeah?
The small batch is what we're going to start off with. Exactly.
Okay. So Kinahan's obviously was started in 1779, as Vanessa told us there. It's a pioneering company. It's been a pioneer from day one. And we are still keeping the same pioneering concept way of making whiskey. Now, we don't tell people that it's the same recipe or the same whiskey from 1779, but we are keeping the innovative concept of creating whiskey and offering different products to our clients. And thank you very much for having us on tonight. I'm looking forward to tasting this small batch with you, and we can talk about it if you want. You want to go
Excellent.
ahead?
All right, so I think Vanessa's going to now leave if she wants to, and then it's just going to be us guys. So thank you very much for that great introduction, and I wish you a good evening. All right, all the best.
And enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Yes, exactly. Auf Wiedersehen, yeah? So we could speak a little bit German, a little bit of English here. All right, excellent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to only have the bottle up here that we're going to have for the review at the same time and just have this in focus for us now. Very, very good. So Kinahan's, it's an old brand, but it's also somewhat new, isn't it?
It's an old brand from 1779. It was a very popular brand. There was a lot of history. There was a lot of development in those days. Going back from like the 1860s, you could see even on the Bartender's Guide of mixology, you could see that Jerry Thomas used to refer to the product, and that's why we pay tribute to him on the bottle. This small batch is a heritage line in our heritage line of products. And it's basically the old style, traditional style of making Irish whiskey, of a blend that is in a bourbon cask from maturation to end day of bottling. And obviously a mix, a blend of malt and grain.
All right, very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen just very briefly because I'm on the website here of Kinahan's, and maybe you just can comment a little bit here on the history. Oh, the pop-up keeps on going up here. So how do I get rid of the pop-up here? Hey, I really don't know.
I noticed that today you actually have to go all the way to the top. Go to the top.
Oh, there it is. Thank you. That helped. All right, very, very good. So what we have is we have 1779. Yeah, Trinity Street in Dublin. We have the leading the revolution here in 1780, and even we'll talk about the LL mark in a little bit here. We have the Carl Isle building here, and it actually has a global trade, the Royal Warrant, as Vanessa talked about. So we have Jerry Thomas. We had a little bit about that. The protected trademark, one of the first ones, and even actually a household name, right? But then we had the decline of the whiskey industry in Ireland and maybe even a little bit of the world there due to prohibition and other factors. And with that long break until the Renaissance happened in the 21st century. All right, excellent. Thank you. So let's go back to the whiskey very briefly. You did mention that is a blend of grain and single malt. It is 46%.
Yeah, it's a blend of malt and grain. Because it's a blend, there's quite a bit of creativity still in it. There's different types of grain that was blended into this final product, and different types of malt that was blended in to finish the product as a whole. And just to give us a bit more creativity also, so that that doesn't just taste like every other Irish whiskey on the island of Ireland, basically.
So it's not Jameson. It's something totally different. It's 33 euros, at least here in Germany. So a fairly okay price product here. What would you say differentiates you the most from maybe the that number one selling brand, unfortunately? Maybe the number two soon, right?
What differentiates us, we in control of things on a daily basis. We're not like a big corporation. When we say that we handpick casks, we actually handpick the casks ourselves. This guy here does a lot of the handpicking. So those are the things, and those other brands are offering great marketing and great category within the category, great products.
Okay, excellent. Let's pull this in here a little bit again. Excellent. Yes. So let's try this. So I ask everyone that has one of the tasting sets to please write down your tasting notes as well. So we're going to do a little bit of the brand and a little bit of the tasting here together. So
46%, Jason, as you know.
Yep.
And it's very gentle for 46%, even at the nose.
So I have here bottling, it's 2020. So I guess it's also the batch number is 8. We have the wood is American oak, and we have filtering non-chilled. Do I see any place on here that says natural color? Probably in this bottle not, right?
It's natural. If it's in Germany, there'd be labeled to say that it's caramel added. If it was
exactly. All right. Very, very good. So we have non-chilled filtered, 46%, then natural color, everything we want. 33 euros, not bad thing. So
Sláinte.
So I think it was about 4 years ago was the first time I had Kinahans on my channel. I reviewed them, and I reviewed the single malt, and I reviewed the small batch, and I liked the small batch better. Which everyone kind of went, Jason, that's wrong. You should like the single malt better. It has an age statement as well. But I said, I really like the small batch. And the same thing today. I get a lot of vanilla. I must admit, I am a blended Irish whiskey lover. If I go to Ireland, one of the first things I pick up is a paddy. And this is actually, for me, a higher class paddy. If I can just say that with all my love and with all my regret, with all my regard for this brand, I really like this. And this, let's see if it's going to be my favorite of the night or not. But this is something really, really good. So, and Daniel says Donald says he likes the small batch better as well. I think it's a personal preference, but that's just that's what I like. And so Vanilla says enjoy, very, very good. And here, one of the people that has a set wrote down smells very sweet, creamy, lot of vanilla. And I totally agree that those bourbon casks apparently really come through. Is it 100% bourbon, or is it a mix of different casks with sherry and so on? Can you say?
No, it's 100% bourbon because it's on the heritage line of products. So it's traditional, very old style. The reason why it's so smooth and gentle, obviously it's a blend, and there's a high majority of single grain or grain in it, mixed with single malt as a total blend that comes together. Irish single grain is some of the best in the world. It's very gentle, very smooth, and that's why it's very underrated, Irish single grain. But once you get the taste of it, you go, wow. You like you say, you come to Ireland and you always taste it. No. So it's a very well spec'd blend also, because the grain, although it's 46%, and the malt also, it's very gentle, and you probably got that when you nosed it. It's not sharp. There's no sharpness in it.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I think the comment here was great. He says the grain is actually not disturbing me for once. And usually that's the case. If you get a Jameson, it's like, oh, wow, there's a lot of grain in here. Okay, good. And this is like, it's just well balanced. There's harmony there. That's vanilla. As I said, this is one of my favorite products of Kinahan's out there. Well done.
Thank you. It's like I said, it's a well-balanced product, but it's also it's the grain in it is phenomenal, And traditionally, people always think that blends are rubbish, and people take all their rubbish to put together to make a blend, and they put some good stuff into it. This entire component of each of other components within this blend are all top-notch that weren't prized by themselves, and that's the secret. There was no shortcuts made when this blend was created.
All right. Very, very good. Tina says it. I think she put in the point here. Sometimes a blend is better because a good blender tries to get a special flavor. And we really got this here. No metallic notes whatsoever, which is great. No smoke, which is great for me as well. Thank you very much. I'm not a peat lover, and so this is beautiful. And I think it was Jack Teeling that he just said in an interview the other day, most people don't realize that in Ireland, more grain whiskey is produced than malt whiskey. All right. So it's just like, hey, don't forget. And that's why one of the things he did when he built the great northern distillery was, I need to produce grain. And in Cooley, he needed to produce grain. He says for him, a good Irish whiskey is a blended Irish whiskey, and there's nothing wrong with it. On the contrary, it can be beautiful. All right.
Very
and at a beautiful
very
price.
And very gentle.
Yep. Exactly. So, one of my favorites of the evening. Thank you very much for allowing us to have this here. Now, could you tell us a little?
Jason, so you're going to maybe change your mind also, yeah?
Let's see what happens. Now, could you tell us a little bit, Kinahan's? Is it an independent bottler? Is it a bonder? What is it, and where does the whiskey come from? Can you tell us without any problems with NDAs and so on?
I'll cover all the points for you because I often get asked these kind of points. So, first of all, we whiskey makers, okay? We are not bottlers. We do not buy immature liquid. We do not buy mature liquid and put it in a bottle from somebody else. We buy liquid, immature, and we warehouse it ourselves We do all the bonding. We do all the through obviously the Irish revenue, through tenancy and all that. We choose our own casks. We work our own recipes. As the innovator of the company, I work out the recipes and we come up with the products. So we have in-house speciality that works out recipes. We don't get somebody that says, hey, there's 10 samples, choose from the 10, and then you can say that's your recipe. That's not the way we do it. So straight away, we're out of that category. We also do our own maturation with our own casks. So the only thing that's missing in the big picture is we don't own a distillery.
Right.
We source our own liquid, and again, as just mentioned, most of it is immature, and we finish by maturing on a long time. And when I ever use the category or term finishing cask, I use that as a long term. I'm not a guy that short term finishes. Yeah.
3 weeks.
No, it's maturation time for me basically. So everything I always talk about is maturation.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed about all that stuff. And that's the philosophy of the company. Going back to 1779, the reason their whiskey was so smooth and gentle in those days, and Jerry Thomas said it, and he mentioned some other Irish brands also in that book, it's all there in print, is that they had figured it out, that the longer it's in wood, the smoother it becomes. Those were the days before there was a law of having Irish whiskey for more than 3 years, you see. So stuff was more like poitín or firewater or something like that. And the further it traveled, the better the whiskey got because it was longer in the wood.
Okay, very good. So now Kinahan's never had their own distillery, correct? They were always doing what you're doing now.
Yes.
All right, very good.
Trying to invent the wheel, and like I said earlier, we're not inventing new recipes or old and say, hey, these are the old ones. We just source liquid because we have a great reputation at sourcing liquid from various people. Everybody wants to work with us, and we buy liquid basically and mature it ourselves.
Yep. Exactly. Just to go off brand a tiny little bit, Writer's Tears, the Irishman. Mr. Welsh does exactly the same thing. He does a lot of contract distilling and so on, but he doesn't have his own distillery. Royal Oak didn't really happen, and so on. And so exactly the same thing. And it's nothing new. It's something that happens a lot here. And you're not trying to trying to trick us into believing you have a distillery. I love it. I have a bottle here back there from St. Patrick's Distillery in Dublin. It's like never was and never will be. And it's just like, come on, guys. All right, no. I mean, you can't write down that. And so this is what I really, really like about this, that you're very upfront, you're very open. You do have a long history, and you're making some very good products. And they're on the German market. They're on the American market. What markets are you in at the moment? There's a lot around the world.
Right? We're in close to 30 markets in the world. There's a lot of markets, and to be honest, I can't remember all of them, but there's 30 markets, and all the big ones are covered, plus a few smaller ones. But we're building on every market depending on the size of the population, you know.
Exactly. All right. Very good. Now, there was one question at the very beginning I do have to kind of show here. Is Kinahan's available in Ireland? I remember bringing Zagios, a bottle of Kasc project over to Dublin from Germany. You were on his show about 3 weeks ago, Irish Whiskey Magazine. It's not available in Ireland, is it?
Okay, you beating me with a big stick. I'm going to answer it for you.
Tina's beating. I'm just showing the stick.
Yeah. So we have decided that we concentrating on the big markets for now, and we're not ready for releasing our products in the Irish market. We have a plan for the Irish market. We do not want to neglect the Irish market. The Irish market is a total different category because it's in Ireland and there's a lot happening in tourism. But for now, we're trying to just build the brand in other regions, and hopefully, when them people ever come to Ireland, they might see it on the shelves here at the airport. But there is plans for Ireland, but not at this present moment. And we want to do it right also when we launch in Ireland. We don't want to say, hey, you know, anybody can launch their own product in Ireland, but we want to have it the right time for the right, you know.
And actually, you're almost in trend at the moment. So the old master distiller here from the Irish Liberties, or the Dublin Liberties, is now in the US, and he's actually bottling his bottles in the US and only going to be US released for Irish whiskey. So hey, why not? Many people can do many different things. Now let's move on to the next bottle if we may. And this is, we need some time to talk for a moment. Yeah. This is something that you need to explain what this is. This is a hybrid cask, all right? So I have the words here on here. So American oak, I have Portuguese oak, I have French oak, I have Hungarian oak, I have chestnut. How can you get 5 different oak types into one cask? Help me.
It's not easy, and I'll explain everything. But I just want to stop you also there, because we specifically put a lot of information on the side of the bottle, because we're trying to communicate to our consumers what we do and how we do things. And we want to always be straight to people so they can see, hey, this is what it is. And, you know, it's simple. It's there in black and white, you know.
Excellent. Yeah. So can I share my screen again so that maybe someone can actually see the cask? I'm not sure if this is the artist representation or the real cask here. So we have here, it's a riot of wood. I love this tiny little thing here. Let's make it a little bit bigger so we can actually see that there. So that's beautiful. And you also have here your different stave compositions. So you have here the Portuguese wood, you have your American wood, the French oak, Hungarian, and the chestnut. Talk a little bit, and we'll just leave this on the screen for a second, okay?
Yeah, I'd like that, please. Thank you. That is an artist's impression of the cask, because we're just trying to be creative. We're showing people how the staves look different. But when we came up with this concept, there was lots of research and development for a long time. Obviously, you know, that's what we do as a company, and the likes of myself, I'm constantly innovating. So there's one characteristic that we all have, from all these kind of oaks. So there's 4 oaks, and the 5th wood is chestnut.
Exactly. Excuse me if I mispronounced something or missaid something. 4 oaks, 1 chestnut, because chestnut is not an oak. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's 5 woods, so we can say 5 woods, And every characteristic of the 4 oaks is always the same. They all have vanilla, And certain woods have got other more characteristics than the other oak. So we're not saying that this oak has only all this and it doesn't taste at all like the next one. They all have a little bit of components of the next thing, next one. But some of them are a little bit more richer. And that's what we discovered basically when I was taking samples of the American oak all the time, which, I mean, I knew what that tasted like, obviously, you know. The Portuguese oak, we got some different characteristics from just tasting that. And the same as the French, again, you know, quite common. Chestnut was very different, So then we decided, of lots of experimentation, hey, make it easier, put all these woods together. And went to the cooperage, and we had to figure it out. Now, it's not easy to get all these different type of woods working together and different regions, and quite complicated, and very labor intensive. And again, this is not something you do in a big company in mass production, because there's a good bit of labor that goes into it, But
labor means money.
It does, it does. And everything is hand done. So we use a small little cooperage that's all 3rd and 4th generation coopers. And these guys are like, you know, really strong, big guys and physical stuff, So we decided to put these together with experimentation, different heads, different staves, all that sort of stuff. And the staves became the easiest bit for me as a blender, because you basically, it makes it easier, because every drop of the same liquid has the same influence in every cask, Whereas normally you might have one cask in French, one in this, one in that. And when you put them together, it's good, but it's not the same as every drop having the same interaction with the wood. And there's a lot of interaction. And that's why we've come up with these different components of flavors that comes from these, derived from the different types of wood. So obviously the Portuguese oak, the American oak, the French oak, the Hungarian oak, and then the 5th wood, the chestnut, gives us those characteristics. And I would share and ask people to please have a look at the website, and you can actually see how the picture. It's hard for them to see on this, obviously, how it's broken down, and it's great to see and visit where we got the flavors concepts from.
So I just put the link into the chat. So if anyone wants to go over there and open up another window, please do that. Remain here in the stream if all possible. Don't go away, but that's very, very good. Now, there was one question, and I don't know the answer either. Were all the staves from virgin oak, or were they actually used staves before or mixed? Can you say that?
Well, that's part of Quinzil's recipe that only he knows, and he takes to his death, you know.
Okay, very good. So it's a black magic type of cask. All right.
Well,
black arts.
Well, yes and no, but because we buy new make spirit and mature it, people can go buy the same stuff if they want, but we always want to make sure that nobody can replicate our products, and that's why we mature our own stuff, our own liquids and our own casks, because there's a lot of recipe that's involved also. Anybody can buy wooden casks and say, hey, you know, let's put some new make in it, and voila, we have whiskey. But
yeah,
there's an art in it also, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I think what Donald said is absolutely right. I worked in a cabinet making shop for a couple of years myself. It's like being lost in a pleasant aroma of a wood shop and a fruit market together. I love that description. Yeah, you have the wood shop and the fruit market together here. Donald, excellent description there. Thank you very much.
That's not the first time I've heard that description. In Forbes, they said it was a riot in a Marrakesh food market.
Okay, excellent. Yes, I like that as well. Yeah. And Dirk here from Exhibition Whiskey actually loves making an old fashioned with the Kasc project. So I've never done that before. All right, that could be interesting. Now, there is a lot of wood. So if you're not a person that loves a wood type based product, you might want to go to the small batch. But I like this as well. The first time I tried it was like, this is weird, interesting, good. It was just unusual. I mean, it was really first weird, then it was interesting, and it was like, this is actually good. So, yeah.
But on the first sip and the smell, you might think it's a bit woody, but then your second sip and your third, it gets smoother. And it's actually scarily smooth and gentle. Yep. I don't know what your opinion on that is.
Yeah, it can be a little, we call it so smooth it's dangerous. You drink more than you should, all right?
Yes.
So it's a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of cardamom in there. It's a very spicy type of moment, and it's good. It's very, very nice, and it's sweet as well, which makes it dangerous, yeah?
We've had a lot of bourbon drinkers basically say, no, we don't drink Irish whiskey. And you go, would you taste that? And they go, ooh, is this what Irish whiskey tastes like? And we go, yeah.
Normally not, but this one does. So, no, it's very, very good. And hey, great color as well, of course, from the wood and so on. And it has a lot of bouquet and flavor and profile. I like this as well. I still like the small batch a tad better. I'm sorry, but this is very, very good. 32 euros in Germany for this. I mean, come on. Yeah. The small batch is 33. This is 32. This is priced to sell. So I'm amazed that this doesn't sell more than it actually does. But that's what we're here for today, is to spread the word that the Project Kasc here, and you spelled it in a very unusual way as well, right? Kasc here. Will there be a second one on the website? There's something about a B project and something about a, what is it? Is it a C project or what was it?
That is B, because that's blend. So Kasc project is the one you have there, B.
Yep.
And we've launched Kasc M, which Vanessa will tell you guys about that, because that's going to launch in Germany pretty soon. So
okay, I'm interested already. Very, very good. Look at this. Yeah. It's a little bit different here. All right. So you're still using the same Kasc compounds or combination. So what's the difference? It's a single malt?
Yeah, it's a single malt. Duplicating the same thing again, but a single malt. Okay. And oh my God, it's so this one is the one we're drinking now. The blend is 43% non-chill filtered. That single malt that you just saw on the picture there is 45 non-chill also.
Excellent, excellent. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So I'm going to buy a bottle of that, and I'm going to do a bottle share, and I'm going to do a review and see. I'll have to
yeah.
compare the two here. That's going to be my mission here. As soon as it
They,
hits the market, to
they.
compare the blend with the single malt and see which one I like better here. Good job. Wow.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
All right, so those are two things that are going to hit the market here. We have different things going into the market soon, and that's very, very good. So Kinahan's. So you have a good partner with Sierra Madre here in Germany. You can find Kinahan's in most of the major online retail outlets. Just to name a few, Whiskey DE has it, for example. I've seen it on Amazon. I've seen it on other sites as well, so it should be no problem. I'm not sure how many local dealers actually have this at the moment, but we can work on that and see if that happens as well. Oh, Tim's here from Whiskey Heroes. Very, very good. Now, let's go here real quick. James asked, what about ultrasonic for aging whiskey? Is it the future or eco-safe? The forest nutters? I don't know. So Blacken just hit the market in Germany, for example, from Metallica, and we have the ultrasonic. Is that something that you're going to maybe look into in the future, or is it just marketing blah, blah?
If you want my honest opinion, it's marketing blah, blah.
Okay, good.
You have a lot of things you have to consider when you go into warehouses with equipment. You can blow places up. So how much does ATEX guitars and speakers and things cost? How many anti-explosive guitars have you heard of, or speakers that are not explosive environment approved,
Yep.
And you still have to use wood. You have to freshen wood also after 3 or 4 uses. So a cask will have to be recharged. I don't know. Put it on a truck that's driven by nitrogen or battery or whatever, drive it around the yard and shake it. Maybe you'll get the same thing. I don't
then
know.
You'd have Jefferson Oceans, basically,
Yeah,
that did that as well, with that going back and forth. So, which I'm not a big fan of either, which I did not like.
Yeah, it needs time. It needs time, and you can't break the law. Also, there's a whiskey file through the Irish government, revenue, through the tax system, and the Department of Agriculture, and you have to stick to the whiskey technical file. I don't see how that's going to work on the technical file, and you need a bit of time to mature whiskey. So, All
right, very, very good. So I can't find this at the moment, but there's a question here about why is there a model race car on sale on the Kinahan's website? Is that true?
Yeah, this NTFs, the tokens that's become very popular. We've sponsored a car.
Oh, okay, NTF, yes.
Yeah. At one of the big races in the UK recently, and we branded a car in Kinahan's, and it's one of the first type with the 3-dimensional kind of way that it was done.
All right. Okay, gotcha.
So subsequently it sold, but since then it's gone on other auctions, and it's there's big betting on it. The actual first site crashed. It was so busy and so popular. But it's just about brand awareness and showing that we're innovative, and we, you never know, one of these days we might take Bitcoin for payment of Kinahan's casks or things. You never know, so.
Okay, why not? Yeah. So thank you. Who knows? So I was not aware of that myself. And if someone asks a question like that, you're the guy that can answer that. All right. So here, someone says here, Reicher Lux says here, Kasc is very bourbon-like to me, but I mean old bourbon with lots of oak and at a high proof. It has so much taste. You think it's got a lot more than the 43%. And I totally agree. So I think you found a new fan, by the way, here.
Thank you very much. That's the reason I wanted a non-chill filter, because you get to a percentage where, and it took me months to develop that, because I had to do a lot of frozen tests also to see how does it go if I send it to the likes of Serbia or no, one of these cold, not Serbia, sorry, Canada or very cold places.
Okay, very good. Yes. You have the problem, of course, that it can turn a little
so much
bit
happening
here.
Also, and you don't want to have it distorted. So 43 was the happy medium, and I wanted it strong at the beginning, but 43 was where I found it opens up a lot of flavor still, you know?
Yep. I like this as well. This is my second place whiskey. So very, very good. So we're going to do the next whiskey now, if it's okay. We're going to move on to the 10-year-old single malt.
Yeah.
So I love the 10 here. I mean, could you have done a bigger 10 on the here? I mean, come on. Yeah.
That's
and now you have
that's quite sexy, and it's meant to be shown out on the when you're walking through the airports. You can see that, and you recognize it
okay.
straight away.
Very good. Yes. I like that. That's good.
For any
All
shelves.
right. So we have the 10-year-old here. So it's 1779, and the 10 is here. Now, you have not mentioned the LL yet. Could you maybe have a little bit of a moment to talk about on every single bottle and every single can that we have here? You have the LL everywhere. So your turn.
Okay. Yeah, Vanessa touched on it very briefly there,
Yep.
but I'll carry on where she left off. So the LL mark was basically the governor. So Ireland was ruled by the English for many years, as we all know in history. And
those evil people, huh?
and there was the
Be careful what you say, Jason. I do want to go back to that country, but from the viewpoint of the Irish, the British are not the most loved people in the world. All right, let's say that.
History is history also, so good or bad sometimes, you know. You take the best that you can, you know, yourself. So the Lord Lieutenant was basically the governor of Ireland, ruling it on behalf of the British Empire, and he was the main man based in Dublin. He liked the whiskey so much, and he said, hey, I want to keep the vats for me, mark it so that nobody gets confused that it's not mine, because obviously heads will roll. And the LL came on. The LL became so well recognized that, you know, the way nowadays, if you have a Louis Vuitton bag, or if you have a Rolex watch or whatever, people always want to sell fakes, you know? So they started copying Kinahan's, and because it was so well recognized. And the first trademark law of drink in the world was in Irish Dublin courts. And they basically had a case in 1863. And it goes back to those days. And all the famous Irish and drink companies all over the world still use this case today as a point of law to say, hey, don't copy our product, you know?
Yep. Excellent, excellent. So now Kinahan's itself has the home office or the headquarters in Dublin, correct?
Yes,
but you are located a little bit further north towards an area that we could think about as maybe the heartland of Irish whiskey if we ignore Middleton. So Dundalk, right?
But I think we should ignore Middleton because there's only one big distillery there, you know, and there's two big ones here. So it's one company over there. Yeah, it is the heartland, and there's another one not too far away on the far side of the border also called Bushmills, you know. So
yeah, exactly, up by the Giant's Causeway. Beautiful stuff. Yep.
Yeah, it is the heartland, and whiskey matures very well, because first trademark, whiskey matures very well in Ireland. That's why Irish and Scottish whiskey matures as well. It's wet, it's damp, it's cold, and slow maturation. The cask have no stress or fast changes like we have in America or warm countries, and hence the lovely whiskey that's produced here, you know. This falls within the heritage range, Jason. So
now tell me the difference between what we've had and what is heritage, please. I do not know.
Yeah, so the small batch that we had is part of the heritage range. It's traditional Irish whiskey, finished matured from day one in bourbon casks and blend. And then this 10-year-old malt is the same. It's a traditional heritage product of 10-year-old malt, or sometimes older. That's matured, but not younger than 10. Obviously, the label says 10, so it's older or the same age in bourbon casks, and that's why you get those gentle vanilla flavors and all the kind of traditional kind of aspects you get from a single malt that's in bourbon, but there's something a little bit different, and I want you to nose it there for me, please. So it's 46%, also non-chill filtered.
I do get that fruity tropicalness here. That's kind of cool. I think the batch that I had 4 years ago was not quite the same fruitiness. Could that be? Have you changed a little bit over the years?
I think not. There's still the same profile, but
All right,
there's one because we do stick to the recipe and the sensory. It is the same, but every batch might be a slight variation. But
I think it's better. Okay, so than the batch I had the first one.
Yeah. It's also I've started also. There's sometimes a little bit older because I don't always just put 10-year-old. I mean, it's part of my recipe also. You know.
I was going to ask, is it maybe a tiny bit older as well? I'm going to just share the screen again real quick. So we have your Kinahans here, single malt 10. What I love is your stave composition. You have the American oak here. You have your vanilla, your honey, your woody notes, your red apples, your orange. You have your nose, the palate, the finish, the color here. Great representation of the bottle and so on. And if I go up to the whiskeys here, you can actually see the Heritage Collection Traditionals. You can see the Kasc projects, and at the very end we'll have here. We'll talk briefly about special release projects, very rare, which we don't have. All right, so they're so rare that we just don't have them. All right, good.
No, I think it's always been the same. There's always been a little bit older also, but that's part of the recipe, and it's not something we discuss on a daily basis. But it's 10-year-old. You know.
All right, so I have bottle number 1268. I have a good. It says here 2020 is when it was bottled, and non-chilled filtered and American oak. Very good. So on the side, I have. Whoops, I have to turn in the right direction here. What do I have here? I have batch number 8 as well. All right. So does that mean anything for you? The batch number 8, is that the newest, or have you had newer bottles now?
That's the batch for that year. That was done just before COVID.
I was going to say, was that? There was
a lot. I actually had a lot of stuff going into the bottling plant the night that the Irish Prime Minister, or the Taoiseach, made the announcement at about 9 o'clock at night to say, hey, you know, the whole country's coming to stop still, and we were panicking, but we still managed to bottle that next week. Because it was food and it was classed as important, you know. So I'm classed as a very important person in Ireland, you know, because I make whiskey, you know.
Okay, you're what was it? A necessitated worker, or what it was that?
Yeah.
All right, so very, very good. What I wanted to ask something really briefly here. Bottling, for example, in Ireland at the moment, there's such a boom that it's one of the bottlenecks of the whole process is not just getting the glass there, but actually getting the time at the bottling line, because it's there's so many people doing so many things, and that's very, very good that you have a partner that you can do that there with. Good.
Yeah, we're very lucky. It's all about building relationships, you know.
Yep. It is. And how long have you personally been now in the whiskey business?
Since 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. And did you work for someone before you were at Kinahan's? Can you mention that?
Yeah, I worked for Teeling when Jack and Stephen started, Jack started Teeling just a little bit after that. So it was a great experience.
All right, very good. So maybe a very brief moment, can we talk about the difference between single malt and blended Irish whiskey? And in your opinion, are age statements really that important? Because many of your whiskeys don't have age statements because you go for a flavor profile, I thought.
Yes. So we'll cover the age statement. We'll cover the blend versus malt first. Is that okay?
Good, great. Go for it.
Yeah. So not to insult anybody, but we dumb it down also, or make it more plain talk for new whiskey comers also. So a blend would be a ratio of grain and a ratio of malt, and you blend them together. Normally, because grain is a more cheaper product, you'd have a majority higher of grain, and your malt, because barley has to be malted, so the process is quite expensive, and the distillation is quite more expensive.
Yeah, you
mix
need to
those
use
together.
copper pot stills for the malt. For
Yeah,
grain, you
but
can
it's
use
also
column.
the
You don't have to
malting.
use barley, for example. You could use
Yeah.
corn or wheat, which is much, much cheaper.
Yes. So that's one of the factors why people years ago used to hate blends, because they said it was cheap, and but that was nasty stuff. So the malt and the grain is blended together. Normally, grain comes from corn on the cob, and it's distilled in column stills. So there's loads of basically cylinders that I use
There's
to
a lot of
distill
plates
from
in
one
there,
to the
right?
next. Yeah. And the pot still is a normal traditional Irish pot still that barley is distilled in, and you get malted whiskey, and they mix together. So that's a blend. A single malt is a malt that was produced in one distillery, but we can make it a little bit more confusing or add to it. You can also blend a few single malts together, and that is still a single malt. So you can have one malt in bourbon, one malt in Merlot, one malt in second fill bourbon, whatever, as long as they come from the same distillery.
Right.
And then you put them together and you have one single malt, but there might still be a blend of single malts to create the final product.
Now, 10 years ago in Ireland, there were basically 3 distilleries that were actually producing. So we could either have a Bushmills, we could have something from Middleton, or we could have something from Cooley. Now, can you tell me, is this double distilled or triple distilled?
If I tell
it's
you,
a trick question. I know, exactly. If you tell me what it is, I can basically. So Bushmills and Middleton were usually triple distilled, and Cooley were usually double distilled.
Well, Cooley
there
was
are
triple
exceptions.
distilled also. Cooley was also triple distilled, a lot of stuff. But I'd say I actually can't remember. I need to have a look,
I was trying to get that information, but that black art, that black magic here of your whiskey production is just something I'm not going to get out of there.
I weiß nicht. I don't know. It's I can't disclose. Most Irish malt is triple distilled in any case traditionally.
Yep.
So.
Exactly. And then we can talk about single pot still, which we don't have here today. Very good. Let's go here. Here, when working for a German brewery, a few boxes of beer part of the salary. Is that similar with Irish distilleries? Just asking if I may need a new job. So if you work there, do you get a little bit of maybe a bottle or 2 a week? Probably not. Do you get free whiskey?
Every drinks company has different allocations. Some of them are every 2 months, some of them every 6 months, and obviously whiskey is more expensive, so it's not as much as beer, probably, I presume, in most places.
No, a lot more excise tax in Ireland than we have over here in Germany. All right, so very good. So I like this as well on the nose. It has a lot more of that. I call it the lime fruitiness in here. You call it the tropical fruitiness. So if you have any other tasting notes in here, please write them down. We are also at the, we're 46%, weren't we?
Yeah. You get the bit of chocolate.
I don't. Not yet. 1 second.
First, you get that floral, sweety taste. But then there's that lingering after finish. But it's nice. It's not horrible,
No, it's very nice as well. Now, I like this single malt a lot better than I remember the old single malt. It's got that fruitiness. I would not call it a dark chocolate moment, but that's okay. 50 euros over here in Germany is what this bottle costs at the moment.
For free.
I can actually recommend this as well. This is good. This is very, very good stuff. So, nice.
So we were also talking about an age statement, though.
Yep, exactly. Are age statements very important or not important? Tell us why.
Age statements are important for people that want to know what the price points are and that are entrants to whiskey. Mature whiskey drinkers are open to whiskeys or to experiment with whiskeys that aren't age or age statements. My design with the company and the company's concept is about maturation, experimentation, and we don't have to offer an age statement. Yes, we have an age statement on that 10-year-old malt, but that is to offer something to somebody that's looking for something that they want to say, hey, that's 10-year-old or what. Yep. It's basically to give somebody a distinction of why they're paying for that money, okay?
Yep.
But the other way around it also is what's the taste like, and do these people have a reputation, no matter what the brand is, to offer something that they don't need to put an age statement on. And that's why there's no age statement on the likes of the small batch or the likes of the heritage other malte or the cask, because it's all about the flavors. And you could be very deceived to think that could be 10 or 15 years old with some 20-year-old whiskey in it, and you wouldn't know because it doesn't really matter.
Right. So very tropical, lime notes are spot on. Very fruity, floral, sweet, citrus moments here. I like this. I think I have my new favorite whiskey of the evening, by the way. I really like this much, much more than I remember. So well done, well done. So I think you've actually increased and improved.
Jason. You've just matured,
Thank you. Maybe I have matured. Maybe the whiskey has matured as well. I don't know here. So the taste is very smooth, positive smooth, vanilla, yellow plums, custard, my favorite until now. See, look. All right. Very, very good. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to our last whiskey of the evening here. And there was a question because over here in Canada, Kinahan's Heritage Single Malt, and I think this is a Heritage Single Malt, is there. It's the first time he's seeing it here in Canada. It's made from 30 different casks. Is that core range? Is it an annual release? Can you mention something?
It's equivalent of the small batch in single malt.
Okay.
So it's released in small batches at a time. If we manage to release more, it'll always be done in small batches. We're never doing thousands and thousands of them, but they're done in small batches. And we even went and we put the cask number around the front, I think, on the tube. To be sort of precise, I worked out what's a small batch.
30 hand-selected ex-bourbon casks, exactly.
Yeah. So the reason we go back to the age statement again, there's no age statement on that, okay? Yep. And you're going to see why when you taste it.
Okay.
Okay. Crack it open there.
So, James asked, the Pogue Castle was bought out. Yes, Pernod Ricard bought it because they wanted actually Jefferson's, and they got the Pogue Castle in the deal. If it happened to Kinahan's, which conglomerate would you prefer? Who should buy Kinahan's?
I don't know.
Well, let's ask the question a different way. Which brand do you, as Kinahan's, want to buy? Let's turn the tables. All right.
I've worked for big companies. I was the quality control and in global production for Brown-Forman.
Right.
So I've worked in big companies. I worked.
So you want to buy Slane's? They own Brown-Forman, or Brown-Forman owns Slane, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did the blends for them.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, I was the blender. So I don't know. I'd say a lot of people are queuing to buy us, but it's not for sale. There's great things happening,
Yep. Okay, it's exciting times in Irish whiskey. Yeah. All right, very good. Now I know from the nose that I prefer the 10-year-old better. This is grassier. What's going on? Yeah. Tell me, what did you do here that's different? I'm missing my lime and my tropical fruitness.
Yeah, so first of all, there's a very zestiness to it. You get that zestiness from the grass. It's the blood orange, yeah?
And there is a little bit, which I'm not a great fan of my whiskeys. All right, good, continue.
So there's the caramel, toasted caramel. It's quite exciting cigar, sort of a bit cocoa-y. But it's the same as the 10-year-old in another sort of a way.
All right.
But it's not the same because it's a heritage category. matured in bourbon casks. There's no need to be an age statement on this because it sells itself. And I'd like to hear your opinion on this itself.
All right, so as I said, it's fairly grassy. I'm missing more than I'm getting at the first moment. I'm going to try it. All right, you talk now.
Do you get the pear, Jason? You get the traditional pear that you get from Irish malt also. That pear with the grassiness.
Yes, I do get the pear.
Very gentle for 46 also. Like it's drinkable. Like you just swallow it down.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Very drinkable. I had a flashback moment. I've had something not identical but similar here from an Irish producer someplace else. Okay, interesting. I like the 10 the best. I like the small batch second. I like the cask, and this is going to be not my most favorite whiskey of the evening. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's
44 euros, by the way, not a bad price. I would go every day in the week for the 10-year-old instead, and I would much rather have the small batch. And the cask is very unusual. It's not a bad whiskey at all. It's just not my wheelhouse. It's not my flavor profile that I drift or I tend to like here. All right.
Yeah.
Good here. Look at it. I really like the wood influence on the cask, but I get too much corn notes. Okay, Pagona's ruined corn for me. That's something else. All right, very good. I thought you were writing here also about the Heritage Blend. Now, this is the 2020 version. I do know that whiskey.de have it as well. All right, David.
In German talk that everybody's saying the 2020, but that's only just when the batch was bottled, It's not really,
exactly.
It's a heritage single malt.
All right.
More to.
So you say rich, zesty blood orange. I totally agree with everything you wrote down here.
Yeah.
That zesty blood orange.
It is zesty, isn't it?
It is. I'm not sure if I like zesty in my whiskey, but I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that will like it.
But I think you have to try it again, because
I will.
got a bit of you have to, it'll grow in you and you'll go, well, maybe. I know you'll
the
get
10's going to grow on me. I know that. I think I'm going to go order a bottle of the 10. All right. Now, David asks, and maybe rightfully so, I always use a Glencairn. It doesn't matter if I have a bourbon or Japanese or German or whatever on the table here. That's what I'm going to use. But you're in Ireland. Why aren't you using the official Irish whiskey glass? See, you are very good. Looky there, David. He has it. And we have the what was the ship? What does it look like at the bottom here?
That's the Kinahan's one. I don't know if you can see Kinahan written on it.
Okay, I'm going to make you a little bit bigger here. Can we read Kinahan? We can actually read it there. Excellent. Okay, yeah, thank you.
I like these glasses for a few reasons. Okay. I like it because you can put your hand on it like this and you can twirl it like a big goblet glass. Now, when I'm tasting and sampling in the lab, I love this because I can see the color straight through it also, yeah?
Yep.
And it gives me an idea of what's going on. And for nosing different strengths, and you can smell it like this.
Okay, very good.
And that's one of the reasons I like this glass versus the Glencairn, to be honest with you. And it's just a preference. Everybody's got their own preference,
Yep, exactly. As tooth, or how do you say that exactly?
Tooth glass, yeah.
Okay, very, very good. Yeah, the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. If you hold up the base again, is what I always see there.
Yeah, you can actually put them down on the side, and they can.
I know it's actually beautiful. Yeah, no problem at all there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So very, very good.
It's a great glass,
It is.
I think it's made in Germany. I'm not sure.
Is it Riedel, I think, or Stölzel? Those are the two big glass producers over here. I thought it was Riedel.
I'm not sure.
So I interviewed who's the lady that did that? That created it? I forgot her name.
Rosie.
Yeah, Rosie. I interviewed Rosie at the Dublin Whiskey fair there, and I got to know her, and she's a fabulous lady with a great story. So that's why that's very, very good. Yeah. So if those that have the tasting set, could you please write down your order? I must admit, I've changed my mind. The 10-year-old is the winner. Then it's going to be the small batch. Then it's going to be the cask, and then it's going to be the heritage here. That's but that's exactly. Rosie was here. So here, I find it very grassy in the nose, maybe even a bit meaty. A little bit of unami is in there, actually, is what he's saying, which I could agree with. Very good, yeah. All right. So now our time's basically up. Have I not covered something, Quinzil, that you'd like to talk about or actually mention? Maybe future bottlings, or maybe there are some questions here from the audience.
Yeah, I'd be grateful to answer any questions. The future stuff, I'll just cover that quickly. The SRP range, which you said earlier, special release project. They are select single release casks of Merlot and various types of finishes. And they're in various markets, and everybody's welcome to have a look on the website. A lot of development goes into these. Like I said, there's not just finishing. It's multiple long-term maturation in these type of casks, and they're specially selected by me. I take all the samples and then I choose which one is the best to release. The next release is the Kasc M, which is basically the single malt Kasc M, which will hit Germany pretty soon. Vanessa Sierra Madre is going to organize some launch pretty soon on that. Watch that space.
Excellent. I haven't seen any of the single cask yet hit Germany. Is it the first time, or have they done it? I just missed it.
In Kasc M, you're talking about?
You're talking about the Kasc M. Yes, I'm talking about the single cask. Yeah. Okay,
yeah. No, sorry, I'm not sure what the releases on that are, if they do any. But the Kasc M, which will is the single.
Yep, we mentioned that, which will be in a couple of weeks from now. Yep.
Yeah, and stick with Vanessa, and she'll highlight everybody in Germany on the markets. All right. Anything else? I'd love to answer any questions. Please go ahead.
All right. Very good. David asks, since you're from South Africa, can you name a South African whiskey you like, and maybe ones Kinahans would collaborate maybe with in the future? All right. So I basically know one internationally sold whiskey brand. It's the Three Ships and the Baines, and they're both one company. I know that director as well a little bit. So what would you say? Is there a chance there?
I don't know. It's never been bridged before, but I'm personal friends with Andy Watts also. So I'm sure if we want to make it happen, we can do it one day. There's a lot of logistics involved with projects like that, and cross jurisdictions with taxes and all that. Yeah. So it's very hard to. And they also have a Scottish brands also. So I don't know. We'll see, and it's something to think about. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, I like Matthias wrote down his favorite is the cask, but his son's least favorite is the cask. All right, his least favorite is the 10-year-old, and his son's most favorite is the 10-year-old. So they're total polar opposite, father and son. That's the way to do things there. All right, very, very good.
It looks like you actually said my son is 10-year-old there for a second.
No. That's his ranking there. So it's very interesting. Yeah, I totally agree. That's something there. Yeah. So who knows? So interesting. Good. Any other questions here? And then we're going to close it up. I totally thank you for your time, and I really thank Sierra Madre once again for providing these free bottles, which we the 500 euros that were actually collected through this online tasting here goes towards Taubenfeta, a regional support here for the flood victims in Germany. It was in the newspaper this morning, they just donated 400,000 euros here to the flood victims in our area, and the 500 euros will help a little bit. All right. Very, very good. Maybe your tastes change when you get older. Very good.
They do.
All right. Do. Yeah, it does. It does. Maybe I've gotten older as well. Maybe.
But
that's
the way that you used to like sweet chocolate when you were a child, and you wouldn't have had the 80% or 70% cocoa chocolate. Now when you get older,
I still like the sweet chocolate more.
I know, but play along now. Come on.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. So, but yes. As a child, I liked vanilla. That white chocolate the best sometimes. Come on, there's no chocolate in it. So you're not going to be at the Whiskey Live in Dublin, I heard, at least not with the stand, with a booth, but you personally might be there. Could that happen?
Yeah, I might be there. I will actually be there, but no, we're not taking a stand. We always support, you know, we always go and support the show. It's a great show.
Yep.
And they do a lot for charity. Obviously, a lot of actually the money goes to charity, which is phenomenal. You know.
Yep.
So yeah, I will be there as a patron. You know.
Yep. So if everything works out and COVID allows it to happen, I have my hotel booked. I have my flight booked. I have tickets for Friday and Saturday for each session. I will be there. I'll be with my camera. I'm going to interview a lot of people and try to make Irish whiskey great again. So, and using that expression. So thank you very much. Also here for your time. Thanks a lot for the tasting and also the charity work here. I wish we could get more 3 ships here in the States. I wish we could get more 3 ships here in Germany. I mean, it's even difficult to get it here in Germany, and we're at one of the places that gets a lot of stuff here. Also, Alex says thank you very much.
Operation. He's having an eye operation at the moment. He just had a operation there.
Yeah, and due to COVID, he was closed down for many, many months, and it's very difficult to ship anything out of the country and so on. And all right, thank you, Matt, for the great show. All right. So that's it for me. I'm very, very happy to be involved here with helping people to learn about Kinahan's. I think most of their products here are an absolute hit, and even those that I don't personally love, I'm sure there are other people that do. All right. Oh, one last question. Will there be any STR casks coming out in the future? Shaved, toasted, and recharred red wine, Jim Swan's favorite.
Well, we've done a few red wine finishes. We've done a Maroni, which has been very popular, and we also did, there's a Merlot, there's an Amarone, and there's some quite exciting stuff I'm working on at the moment. And I just sent some samples away to some regions.
Armagnac, you say on your website as well,
Yeah, Armagnac. The Armagnac won the Best Single Cask 2020 Whiskey Bible.
Excellent. Okay, very good. All right, so WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting hopefully not so rare and exotic Kinahan's whiskeys in the future. And I'd like to thank my guests very much. Last words belong to you.
Thanks for having us, and we're honored to be on your show tonight, and especially that you're collecting money on the tasting samples for the charity. We're grateful that you've done something like that. So well done to you, and thanks for having us.
All right. Kinahan's cool. I think that's the good last comment that I'm going to show here. See you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for watching.
Bye-bye.